Okay, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another tone sit down, whatever you want to call them. We got to come up with a name for these, but we've got a couple guitars. We're going to share with you some sounds from the guitars. We're going to tell you kind of what we're playing and what we're showcasing. And yeah, excited. What's going on, Marco?
Yeah, going good. It's a good day. Good day to build some pickups and play some guitars, I think. So I've got a Mexican Fender Tele, kind of a vintage inspired look. And so we threw the Vintage Tele set of ours in there just to kind of give it, that full vintage kind of look and tone kind of thing that's inspired by the classic Butterscotch Blonde. But yeah, we haven't heard the vintage Teles in a while in the shop, so we thought it was a good idea to throw them in there and kind of, do a few rounds with them and just see kind of where they're sitting and what we like about them and kind of maybe some things that they're good for.
Yeah, sweet. Well, let's hear what you got.
Yeah, I'll probably just cycle through. I've got a pretty ripping tone set up on the Nux Amp Academy here, and so I'll just cycle through the pickups playing an E chord, and I'll just try and highlight some of the dynamic range of these pickups. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you can hear kind of as you push it, starts to break up. And I think one thing I like about the vintage Teles is they do have the ability to rock and roll if you need to, with them being called vintage. Sometimes people will look at our website and they just assume they don't want those if they play rock and roll, they play other styles. Hopefully that showcases that. Hopefully you could hear that well through the kind of the setup that we have here. Kind of what is your favorite thing about them? Because we've had them only in this guitar for a little while, and then before that, we actually haven't heard them in person in a while, which is very weird to say. Mm-hmm. We make them and we put them in a box and we ship them to you guys, but we don't listen to them sometimes. So they've not been in a guitar for a long time, and now they are. So we're kind of rediscovering them, if you will.
I feel like people like the 90s and our custom Teles a lot, and they seem to kind of overlook this, but I think that those are like a different kind of platform, and this is kind of sticks true to that Alnico 3 kind of. It's a weaker kind of magnet than like 5s or 2s, so you get a different like treblier kind of attack I hear, but the wire type that we use kind of brings back in some of the warmth, kind of shaves off some of the super trebly bits, and I think it really makes a good like bluesy kind of overdriven kind of pushed sound, and you still get that clarity of your string, of your root note. So super useful, I think.
Yeah, and so you've got kind of you could hear that, but you've got kind of a grittier type setting. So give me an example of like where you might, like where you have this tone, where you might use it kind of in practice.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like this is an excellent tone if you are not really hip to like using your volume knob. Like I think you really can hear. So I'm just going to show some of that. Like you're like, oh, that's a really nice clean sound. You can hear kind of some of that twang, but it's really nice to when you need to just have a little bit more boost at your fingertips, and then when you end up full bore, it's it's pretty spicy. So to me, it's just a good. You get home from work or whatever, and you just want to sit down and not really think about tones too much. You just want to get to some playing. Like this is a good sound. There's some reverb. There's a noise gate because I'm boosting it. So it's kind of a I think it ticks a lot of boxes kind of thing. Like it's got everything you need kind of sound, I think.
Yeah, and with you using the volume knob, that does open up more of the clean sound, and then you can kind of turn it up to get the hair on it, if you will. That's really cool. And it's always cool to see, I was saying before we turn on the camera, it's cool to see kind of how different people approach different gear in different situations. How many times have we heard an amp or heard a pedal and someone else plays it and you're like, I didn't know it sounded that good, because maybe our interpretation or the way we turn the knobs is not, not saying it's right or wrong, it's just not the same approach. And sometimes it's refreshing to kind of hear that. Well, I've got the Yamaha, I'm going to go through this again, AEX 520. I think these are Korean series Yamahas. This was an eBay auction. I think I won for $179, which is one of those like crazy deals, I guess. It was a mess. The fretboard was like covered in, gunk. It was gross. I don't know if you saw it before.
I think I remember
cleaned it up.
what it looked like. Yeah.
It was bad. I had to put on some gloves to start working on it because it was gross. Worked on the fret ends. Was looking for something that could showcase and highlight Mini Humbuckers. I realize it's kind of hiding behind the microphone here, but it's a cool orange color. It's kind of a flat top, semi-hollow. Something that we wanted to put the minis in because we don't always go for a mini guitar, like a Mini Humbucker guitar, not a mini guitar, but Mini Humbuckers. We don't always have one of those in the shop because it's not one of our best selling pickups, but it's like something that we want to have on hand to demo. So that's kind of like the guitar that I was drawn to today to kind of showcase. So I've got the Mini Humbuckers in here, Alnico 5 magnets, smaller wind. You were saying they're around 6 to 6.5K.
Yep.
Roughly neck and bridge. And that's not exact numbers. It's just kind of a range. I've got the, this is really interesting. This one's very, very far up here. It almost looks like the way some jazz guitars are. It's really, really far up.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting. They seem very widely spaced, but that does create some really cool middle position sounds, which I'll share. So I'm going to get my signal on here. So just some clean stuff. I've got some reverb and delay. So I'm going to go to the middle. It's a little bit more kind of, it sounds like a Tele, but just souped up a little bit. Like play your middle position, just kind of play maybe a G chord or something. So I hear that like very, very similar.
Yeah.
But it's got more body to it, kind of on all sides of the spectrum, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that was kind of surprising to me about Mini Humbuckers, and one of the things I really like about them is they kind of have the Tele, but it's like less of a detour. If you're a humbucker guy, it's less of a extreme jump to a Telecaster, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I like about them. And if there's anything like you guys want to see in this type of vein, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep highlighting guitars, kind of just talk about them for as long as we feel like it, and put it up on YouTube and sometimes Facebook as well. So those are some tones, just some clean tones, and man, what a fun kind of a collection of guitars today. Very fun things. If you see anything behind us that you would like to have us do little shootouts or little tone conferences with, if you will, let us know in the comments below. And yeah, we'll be back with more videos soon.
Yep. See y'all in the next one.